So I just finished The Last of Us Part 2. Um, I have mixed feelings. I have very mixed feelings about this game. Let me just start off with the stuff I really liked. The level design, the environments, the cutscenes, performances, things like that. They are all excellent. I agree with the people that have said that this is like Naughty Dog's best game. I think technically, artistically, yes, it is Naughty Dog's best game. However, I did not really like the story, or let me rephrase that. I didn't like Ellie's part of the story. Last of Us Part 1 was about Ellie and Joel, their growing relationship, and then of course Joel's decision at the end to forgo the human race, save Ellie, and then lie to her about what happened in the hospital, which she doesn't really buy either. And that was a really good beginning to end story. They were on a journey, they grew, you know, every bit of that story served a purpose. I didn't really like the whole David boss fight thing, but that's personal preference. I liked David in general, but in general, the whole game, the whole of The Last of Us 1, I really liked. The Last of Us 2, where do I start with this? When Joel dies, I thought that was a bold choice. I supported it. I thought it was a good one. It was a good, bold narrative choice, and I was on board with it. I was like, right, that is something I didn't know. I didn't know it was going to happen so early on either. I kind of thought it might happen, but towards the end. To have it happen so early really set a tone for kind of how Ellie was going to go forward from there. And I didn't enjoy Ellie's side of the story at all. I think part of the problem was that the game was too long, and a lot of the sections with Ellie where she doesn't really have any growth, there's no journey. It's really just go to this place, kill some people, go home. That's pretty much it. There's no real journey there. I didn't really feel her relationship with Dina either. It was often quite kind of, there's a lot of snarky back and forths, like a lame joke, telling that person they're lame, and then you're going, yeah, but you love it though, which is fine. Couples do that, but not every single comment is like that. And so that the relationship didn't really grow on me. I actually only really liked Dina in the farm, where actually I liked her and appreciated her kind of, and I understood, I appreciated where she came from in that, like, in the whole, like, you know, if you go back out there, we're done. Don't go, don't leave me, don't do this. And I was totally with her, totally on board there. Because again, I didn't like Ellie. I didn't like her character at all. Well, actually, we'll go through. I mean, there's two sides of this. There's the Abby side as well. Abby, I loved. This is Abby's game as far as I'm concerned. Even though the whole point of it is Ellie, going through it. Abby's side of it, I enjoyed. I don't think I had any complaints about Abby's side at all. Other than I didn't like Owen. I don't think it really meant to either. I felt really bad for Abby and the way Owen treated her sometimes. But we can go through. I've got I've completed the game, so I've got the list of over here, the list of all the chapters here. So Jackson prologue was good. The whole waking up and the overlook, I really liked. Who is this group? Who's this mysterious group? Why are they here? They're obviously looking for some people. Then it sort of dawned on me. I was like, oh, I know who they're looking for. The horde section was good. Really unfortunate for Joel and Tommy to run into the group that are trying to kill them, or at least kill Joel. And the whole Shally thing was very dramatic. I liked these scenes up to this point. Seattle Day 1. Traveling to in the whole downtown section. Actually, that's a good point. The downtown section I really liked. I actually thought the game was going to be more like that. I think in the previews or the sort of the media buzz around the game, I think a lot of it did mention that it was a little more open, more like the Lost Legacy. No, Lost Legacies? Uncharted Lost Legacy, I think. And I like that. I thought the game was going to be a bit more open world with offshoots. And there'd be a hub to come back to, or a hub to center this whole thing around. But It turns out it was only this one section, which I liked, but after that it was the linear Naughty Dog style. Environments were more open, but ultimately there's point A, there's point B, and it doesn't really matter how wide the margins are around that line. It's still a line. There's no real openness to it. Once you do the standard like Naughty Dog thing of cover here, kill all the enemies, character says, "Oh, I think that's it," and then you're safe. You can just run around and do whatever. There's no real danger. Once you killed all the enemies, there was no danger in any section. It was not open in that sense, which maybe that was my own expectations or whatever. I should have measured them perhaps. But yeah, playing the downtown section, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked the more open style of it and the feeling like, oh, there could be enemies everywhere. And the rest of the game wasn't quite like that. Was there anything, other chapters? Yeah, this is the really, once you leave the downtown area, these were things get a bit more open. I'm not very good at stealth gameplay in general, so I found myself actually going into into encounters on purpose, just so I can again clear the enemies, because my favorite part of the game is the looting, going around scavenging, investigating all the areas, all the dilapidated buildings and ruined environments, and then picking up the bits of paper that tell all the stories. I love that stuff, and this game does it very well, much like the first one. Just the combat I'm not a fan of. I'm not good at stealth gameplay either, so I actually played the game on the easiest setting that I could, with some accessibility features turned on as well, like auto aim, picking stuff up automatically, things like that, because for me, whenever I play a Naughty Dog game, the combat gets in the way of the story for me, so I just want to get through the combat as easy as possible and enjoy the stuff that they excel at. The tunnel section was really good, actually. I like that. I like the atmosphere, and getting to the theater, of course, was like the end of that day one. The flashback kind of structure that they told, obviously splitting the game between two different perspectives between Abby and Ellie, each having day 1, day 2, day 3, and having a flashback at the end, kind of punctuating each one. I like that style. And the Ellie flashbacks for me are probably the best aspects of Ellie's story. I kind of wish that we'd actually started with a younger Ellie and played in a linear fashion up to the point where she discovers, Joel's secret, and they have that big fight, and then maybe end the game with his death or something like that. But maybe part 3, I'd have to have complaints about her story would be just being a revenge story. Maybe doesn't matter anyway. But yeah, I really like those flashbacks. They really helped punctuate each chapter, and it gave me more of what I was wanting, which was the Ellie and Joel back and forth, because those two work so well together. To not have Ellie and Joel in the Ellie sections, it was difficult, and I didn't like her just stubbornness, determination to get through all these people and kill them. There wasn't a lot of growth there. I've already mentioned that before. So the birthday cake, the museum was amazing. Absolutely loved it. Saturday 2, Hillcrest was interesting. Finding the strings, the flashback there, I like that. I did like that. The Seraphites were introduced they're just sprung on you. I didn't quite like that. I would have liked to have found out more about them before the first time you meet them as an arrow going through your shoulder, and they're basically on top of you straight away. If I wasn't playing on like the easier settings, then maybe I wouldn't have enjoyed it so much, but jumping in there and then basically having them on top of you as soon as you regain control of Ellie, didn't quite like that very much. I would have liked to have maybe introduced them a bit easier than the first thing being damaged and having to heal. And then of course we get the flashback there of Ellie finding out the truth. Aquarium in the Flooded City, I actually quite like these sections, but again, in general, I find all the Ellie sections were a bit too long. In the overall game, could have been maybe 5 or 10 hours shorter. Maybe that's why I didn't quite gravitate to Ellie's side of it, because it felt like I was just going into each section, killing some dudes, each section, kill some more dudes, and eventually kill someone, and we go back to the theater and repeat it again for 2 more days. So I wasn't entirely keen on that. I like the introduction of Abby. I did not know we were going to be playing as anyone else other than Ellie. So it was a really nice surprise to actually get motivations from the character, the protagonist you're chasing down. I like that aspect of it quite a lot. And yeah, Abby's initial growth, or you see her relationship with her dad, basically what happens at the hospital at the end of The Last of Us 1. And then you see her years later, after they've already been to Jackson and killed Joel, back at the stadium, back in Seattle. I really like the stadium. I loved this whole settlement inside the Seattle Seahawks stadium. I really liked that. I thought it looked fantastic. I played catch with the dog, obviously. And I really liked their society. They obviously were doing the same thing as people in Jackson were doing, trying to survive and build this place and live. Getting through to the base was good. The aquarium was fantastic. It's another like the museum. It's another really great bit of storytelling, and the environment was stunning. I really enjoyed going back to the aquarium. Going through the hostile territory, getting to the forest, meeting the Seraphites, again, and then getting to the coast. That was all pretty good as well. Settled day 2. What was that part? Oh, that's right. Oh yeah, going through that building. The hospital, I did not like the boss fight in the hospital. Even on very easy, I must have died like 10 times because I kept getting caught by the monster against some part of the environment I couldn't see because it was so dark in that section. I did not enjoy that fight, and then afterwards having to try and chase down the bit that escaped the giant clumpy monster. I like the idea of going into the Ground Zero, the sort of the horror aspect of going into this awful place. But the boss fight was, I did not enjoy that. Likewise, that's returning to the aquarium. That's we came back. Yeah, we come back to that with the supplies for Yara. I actually found the aspect of Abby going back for Lev and Yara kind of thin. Like she felt a bit guilty. It served the story, but I didn't really care about that particular part. Didn't really care for it. I do like how it eventually leads us to the island, which we're coming up to now. But in between that, the sniper section with Tommy, that was really cool. I liked that a lot. That was a really cool idea. Broke up some of the gameplay. The island I thought was fantastic. I absolutely loved when we got to the island, the visuals of it, the whole going through this battle zone essentially was really cool, both visually and gameplay wise. It was very, very cool to not be the target, to try and sort of work your way through to fighting factions. And yeah, eventually obviously getting back to the aquarium. Because I was wondering at what point, was it day 2 when Ellie killed Nora was when we're going to bump into Ellie or discover all that, or whether it was going to be the aquarium. And of course it ends up being the aquarium. It's very impactful. Abby also almost throwing up in that room, in that section, at the sight of those people, Owen and Mel, being dead. There's some nice parallels between Abby and Ellie's journey through the different days. Other than, they're both on revenge missions for killing their fathers, but like I said, I enjoyed Abby's side a lot more. And of course, the confrontation there, I didn't enjoy the boss fight as much. I think in general, I'm not a stealth person. I don't like being powerless and having to stealth around things and then kind of getting caught for a silly reason and having to redo a fight again. I like the idea of it though, but Abby is built like a tank, and I understand, Ellie had a shotgun or she had a bow and arrow or knife or whatever. But whenever there was sections between Abby and Ellie, Abby's part of this militia. They have training, and she's built. I find it hard to believe that she would lose in certain fights. And I did like the fact though that she lets Ellie live and says, "I never want to see you again." She's beaten her twice essentially, and Ellie knows that. So I liked the fact that Abby was done. She got her revenge. Lev, obviously stops her actually killing Ellie, but I did really like that aspect of Abby's character. So I think we're back at the farm now, right? Yeah, we're at the farm. I was happy with this section, and seeing Ellie with the baby, which of course was Jesse and Dina's. I was surprised to see Tommy, though. I thought when he was shot in the theater, that was it. He was down, because I'm pretty sure he was shot in the back of the head, and it looks like part of his eye is kind of messed up, and maybe he just got lucky and he didn't die from the headshot or whatever it was. But I was surprised to see Tommy there, but I liked seeing Ellie with their baby. Seeing her with Dina, seeing Dina actually, I mentioned this earlier, this is where I actually liked Dina in the story. And I liked her chasing Tommy out and arguing with him outside. And like, how dare you bring this back into our house? We just survived this. You have no right to be here if you come back here. Like, just never come back here. I also like that Ellie still obviously suffered a little bit from PTSD, so obviously Dina calms her down a little bit there in the barn. I did like that aspect of it. Obviously, it's a horrible thing to go through, but obviously Ellie still isn't quite done, hasn't dealt with everything that they've left behind. And then going back to Santa Barbara, so again, I've mentioned several times I didn't like Ellie's motivations. She's going out for revenge again for a second time. I was like, why? You've got a happy home, like everything is good now. Why would you leave? And I get that she has to do it, but it felt thin. Like it's a thin motivation to go all the way back from where she was across the country back to Seattle. Actually, sorry, back to Santa Barbara. It felt like really she's gonna do this again. Like it was so hard the first time and she barely survived. I didn't quite enjoy that, but the whole resort section I quite liked, and obviously the beach. Finding Abby on the beach. I actually didn't recognize Abby straight away. I thought the character was mouthing the name Abby, and she was going to say, oh, she's been taken over here. I didn't recognize her because obviously she'd lost a lot of muscle mass and her ponytail was gone, her hair was darker. So I liked it when she found her, and Abby obviously wasn't in any mood to deal with Ellie. She was like, no, get Lev. She even tells her, there's boats down here, let's go. And then of course Ellie has to fight her. I actually wished Abby had won the fight. I would have liked it to have ended there, for Ellie to go back again to face Abby and just have her be done with this revenge story. Like, if you keep you're doing this revenge for your own personal, it's your own personal revenge story. There are consequences for doing that. I would have actually preferred it if Abby had won that fight and Ellie would have died. I would have felt like, okay, that's her journey. That's what she got for having this this one-track revenge theme, I guess. This one-track revenge story. And yeah, I would have actually liked Abby to have won that and have it be ended, because it just kind of feels like, what was the point? Ultimately, she gets back home. Dina's left her. She has just 2 less fingers, so playing the guitar is a lot harder. And that's what she's got. She actually makes it back, and she's got nothing after. I mean, maybe that's the consequence. That's the lesson, maybe. But yeah, I either hope that there isn't a part 3, or if there is a part 3, Ellie's not in it at all. Or if she does, she's an Easter egg at the end, and she's like an older lady who's, that's it. She's done. She's gone back to living a normal, or trying to live a normal life in these post-apocalyptic times. And maybe the next game focuses more on Abby, and Lev possibly, but yeah, those are my thoughts. I just thought I'd commit them to video. Yeah, I have very mixed feelings about it. Like I said, I love it. The game is stunning. The cutscenes are amazing. The gameplay hasn't really evolved much from the first game, but to be honest, I don't really care about that because I don't play Naughty Dog games for the gameplay necessarily. And yeah, the story I only really half liked and didn't enjoy the end. that much. So those are my thoughts. If you have thoughts about The Last of Us, let me know in the comments or reach out on Discord. You can follow me on Twitch or on Twitter at AAA to Z. That's AAA to Z. It'll be part of the... You'll find it attached to the YouTube profile thing. You can let me know in our Discord what your thoughts were. Obviously, keep it spoiler free if you're in the Twitch chat for other people. And in Discord, maybe DM me or something like that. But yeah, let me know in the comments below or through Twitter or something like that. And how did you feel when you finished The Last of Us? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you kind of mixed like I was? What was your favorite aspect of it? So yeah, let me know. And I'll see you later.